Imagine waking up each morning with a peace so deep that nothing, no criticism, no rejection, no chaos could shake you. Not because your life is perfect, not because you've escaped every hardship, but because you've discovered something the Buddha taught centuries ago, a truth so powerful that once you truly understand it, the world can rage around you and you remain still, centered, unshaken. Most people spend their entire lives at the mercy of external circumstances. A harsh word ruins their day. A disappointment shatters their calm. A setback steals their sleep. They live like boats tossed by waves, constantly reacting, constantly destabilized, constantly struggling to find solid ground. Music. But there is another way. A way where you are not the boat at the mercy of the storm. You are the ocean itself, vast and deep, where the surface may ripple, but the depths remain forever calm. This is not fantasy. This is not spiritual bypassing. This is the ancient wisdom of Buddhism, tested by millions over thousands of years, and it works. In this video, I'm going to share the one profound truth that changes everything, the truth that makes you unmovable, the truth that protects your peace, no matter what life brings. And once you learn this, truly learn it, nothing will ever disturb your peace again. Here is the revolutionary teaching that Buddhism offers, and it's the complete opposite of what the world tells you. The world says your peace depends on your circumstances. Get the right job, find the right partner, achieve the right success, and then you'll have peace. Buddhism says this is backwards. It's an illusion, and it's the very reason you suffer. The fundamental truth is this: nothing outside of you has the power to disturb your peace. Not one single thing. Not the traffic that made you late. Not the person who criticized you. Not the opportunity you lost. Not the relationship that ended. Nothing. Your mind is reacting right now. But those things hurt. Those things matter. How can you say they don't disturb my peace? And you're right to question. So let me explain carefully, because this is where everything changes. It's not the external event that disturbs your peace. It's your relationship to that event. It's the story you tell yourself about what it means. It's the judgment you place on it. It's the resistance you feel toward it. That's where the disturbance lives. Not in the event itself, but in your interpretation of it. Think about this. Two people lose their job on the same day. One person spirals into panic, anxiety, depression. They tell themselves, "I'm a failure. My life is over. I'll never recover." The other person, while disappointed, sees it differently. This is an opportunity, a door closing so another can open. Time to explore what I really want. Same event, two completely different experiences of peace. What's the difference? Not the job loss. The difference is in how they relate to the job loss. One resists it, fights it, makes it mean something terrible about themselves. The other accepts it, allows it, and remains curious about what comes next. One loses their peace, the other keeps it. This is what the Buddha meant when he said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Your peace is not determined by life circumstances. It's determined by your response to those circumstances. And your response, that's something you can control. So here's the liberating truth. If your peace depends on your inner response rather than outer events, then your peace is always within your control. Always. You don't need the world to cooperate. You don't need people to behave the way you want. You don't need life to go according to plan. You only need to master one thing, your own mind. When you truly understand this, when you feel it in your bones, everything changes. You stop being a victim of circumstance. You stop giving away your power. You stop waiting for the world to fix itself so you can finally be at peace. Instead, you realize the peace you've been seeking was never out there. It was always within you, waiting to be claimed. The reason most people lose their peace so easily is because they make one critical mistake. They believe every thought that crosses their mind. Buddhism teaches something radically different. It says, most of your thoughts are not facts. They're just mental events, stories, interpretations, and you don't have to believe them. Your mind is an incredible storytelling machine. It's always narrating, always interpreting, always creating meaning from the raw data of experience. And most of the time, these stories have a negative bias. This isn't your fault. It's evolutionary psychology. Our ancestors survived by being hypervigilant, by expecting danger, by preparing for the worst. That negativity bias kept them alive. But in modern life, it keeps you anxious, stressed, and robbed of peace. Let me give you an example. Someone doesn't return your text message. Immediately, your mind creates a story. They're ignoring me. They don't care. I said something wrong. They don't want to be my friend anymore. And within seconds, your peace is gone. You're anxious, hurt, spinning in worry. Your body tenses. Your mood drops. Your day is ruined. All because of a story your mind created about an unreturned text. But here's the truth. You don't know why they didn't respond. Maybe their phone died. Maybe they got busy. Maybe they read it and forgot. Maybe they're dealing with their own crisis. Maybe they saw it but wanted to give you a thoughtful response later. Maybe they're in a meeting, at the dentist, taking a nap, helping a friend. You have no idea. Yet your mind creates a whole narrative, a whole disaster scenario, and you believe it as though it's fact. You treat this mental fiction as if it's reality, and you suffer accordingly. Buddhism calls this mental proliferation. The mind takes a neutral event and spins it into 1,000 stories, most of them negative, most of them untrue. And we suffer not because of what actually happened, but because of the stories we tell ourselves about what happened. The key to unshakable peace is this. Learn to recognize thoughts, not as reality. When a thought says, "This is terrible," you don't have to believe it. You can simply notice, that's a thought. That's my mind interpreting this situation in a particular way. But I don't have to accept that interpretation. This is not denial. This is not pretending bad things don't happen. This is wisdom. This is understanding that reality is one thing, and your story about reality is another. And peace lives in the gap between the two. Try this right now. Think of something that's been disturbing your peace. Maybe a conflict, a worry, a fear. Now ask yourself, what story am I telling myself about this situation? Write it down if you can. Look at the story. See how your mind has interpreted neutral facts and turned them into something emotionally charged. Now ask, is this story absolutely true? Could there be another way to see this situation? Almost always, you'll find that your story is just one possible interpretation, not the only one, and certainly not the definitive truth. When you realize your thoughts are not facts, when you stop believing every story your mind creates, something miraculous happens. The thoughts still come, the mind still spins, but you're no longer caught in it. You're no longer disturbed by it. You watch it the way you watch clouds passing through the sky, present but not permanent, visible but not solid, and your peace remains untouched. This is the first step to becoming unshakable. Stop believing your mind's commentary on life. Start seeing it for what it is. Just thoughts, just stories, just mental weather passing through the vast sky of your awareness. Buddhism teaches one of the most powerful principles for maintaining peace. What you resist persists. The more you fight against reality, the more you suffer. The more you insist that things should be different than they are, the more pain you create. This principle runs counter to everything modern culture teaches us, yet it holds the key to lasting peace. This is a hard truth to swallow, because we've been taught to fight, to push back, to never accept defeat. We've been told that acceptance means weakness, that surrender means giving up, that allowing things to be as they are means we don't care about improving them. But there's a profound difference between acceptance and defeat. Acceptance doesn't mean you like what's happening. It doesn't mean you approve of it. It doesn't mean you won't take action to change it. It simply means you stop wasting energy denying the reality of this present moment. Right now, in this moment, things are exactly as they are. You can wish they were different. You can argue with reality. You can resist it with every fiber of your being. But reality doesn't care. It remains unchanged by your resistance. All you've done is added suffering on top of an already difficult situation. You've taken pain and turned it into suffering by fighting what is. Consider a simple example. You're stuck in traffic. You have an important meeting. You're going to be late. The traffic is the pain, the unavoidable reality. But the suffering, that's optional. You can sit there gripping the steering wheel, cursing every car around you, feeling your blood pressure rise, replaying worst-case scenarios. Or you can accept that you're in traffic, that you'll be late. Call ahead to let them know. Take some deep breaths. Maybe listen to a podcast. Same traffic, two completely different experiences. Think of it like this. You're caught in the rain without an umbrella. You can stand there cursing the sky, angry that it's raining, wishing it would stop, resenting the universe for this inconvenience. Or you can accept that it's raining, adjust your plans, and find shelter. Same rain, two completely different experiences. Resistance is the source of most of our suffering. We resist aging, so we suffer when we see wrinkles. We resist change, so we suffer when life shifts. We resist loss, so we suffer when things end. We resist criticism, so we suffer when someone disapproves. We resist uncertainty, so we suffer when we can't control the outcome. But what if you stopped resisting? What if, instead of fighting reality, you met it with acceptance? Not passive resignation, but conscious acknowledgement. This is what's happening right now. I may not like it. I may work to change it. But first, I accept that this is the current reality. When you practice acceptance, something profound happens. The suffering decreases. Not because the situation changed, but because you stopped adding resistance to it. You stopped creating the secondary layer of pain that comes from wishing things were different. Buddhism teaches that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Pain is what happens when life brings difficulty. Suffering is what happens when we resist that difficulty. You can't always avoid pain, but you can always choose to stop creating unnecessary suffering through resistance. So the next time something disturbs your peace, pause. Notice if you're resisting what is. Notice if you're arguing with reality, wishing it were different, refusing to accept the present moment. And then, gently, practice acceptance. Not giving up, not becoming passive, just acknowledging this is what is true right now. That simple shift from resistance to acceptance will protect your peace more than almost anything else. Because when you stop fighting reality, you stop creating suffering. And in that space of acceptance, peace naturally arises. One of the fastest ways to lose your peace is to take things personally. Someone is rude to you, and you make it about your worth. Someone criticizes your work, and you make it about your competence. Someone rejects you, and you make it about your lovability. You take every external event and turn it into a referendum on your value as a person. This habit of personalizing everything is deeply ingrained. From childhood, we learned that other people's reactions told us something about ourselves. If mom was happy, we were good. If dad was angry, we were bad. If the teacher praised us, we were smart. If our peers rejected us, we were unworthy. We built our entire sense of self on the shifting sands of other people's moods and opinions. Buddhism offers a liberating perspective. Most of what happens to you is not about you at all. People's behavior, their words, their reactions, these are reflections of their inner world, not accurate assessments of your worth. Everyone you meet is walking through life wearing their own unique lens, colored by their past experiences, their current stress levels, their unconscious fears, their unmet needs, their cultural conditioning, their personal triggers. When someone snaps at you, it's usually because they're stressed, tired, overwhelmed. It's about what's happening inside them, not about what's wrong with you. When someone criticizes you harshly, it often reveals their own insecurity, their own standards, their own wounds. When someone rejects you, it's about compatibility, timing, their own capacity, not about your inherent value. But we take it all personally. We internalize it. We make it mean something about us. And in doing so, we hand over our peace to every person we encounter. We become emotional hostages, our inner state determined by the moods and opinions of others. There's a beautiful Buddhist story that illustrates this. A monk was meditating by a river when a boat came drifting downstream and crashed into him. Annoyed, he looked up to yell at the person steering the boat. But the boat was empty. There was no one to be angry at. The boat had simply come loose and drifted into him. The monk laughed and returned to his meditation, his peace undisturbed. This story contains profound wisdom. Most of the boats that crash into you in life are empty. The harsh words, the cutting remarks, the rejections, they're not piloted by people consciously trying to hurt you. They're just drifting from someone else's pain, someone else's fear, someone else's unresolved trauma. People are acting from their own conditioning, their own wounds, their own unconscious patterns. They're not making calculated decisions to disturb your peace. They're simply being who they are in this moment, shaped by everything they've experienced, reacting from their own level of awareness. And yet, you take it personally, as if it's a deliberate attack on your worth. You make their empty boat into a personal vendetta. You create a story where you're the victim and they're the villain. You turn an impersonal event into a personal affront, and in doing so, you lose your peace. What if you stopped? What if you saw people's behavior for what it usually is? Not a statement about you, but an expression of them, their pain, their fear, their limited perspective, their bad day, their unhealed wounds. This doesn't mean you tolerate abuse. This doesn't mean you don't set boundaries. It simply means you stop making other people's behavior mean something about your inherent value. You stop letting their words and actions disturb the deep knowing that you are worthy, you are enough, you are whole, regardless of how anyone treats you. When you stop taking things personally, your peace becomes unshakable because you're no longer giving away your power. You're no longer letting other people's projections define your reality. You remain centered in your own truth, understanding that their behavior is about them, not you. Practice this. The next time someone says or does something that would normally disturb your peace, pause. Ask yourself, is this really about me, or is this about what's happening inside them? 9 times out of 10, it's about them. And when you see that clearly, their behavior loses its power over you. Your peace remains intact, and you move through life free from the exhausting burden of taking everything personally. One of the deepest sources of disturbed peace is the illusion of control. We believe that if we just plan enough, work hard enough, control every variable, we can guarantee outcomes. We can make life go the way we want, we can prevent pain, we can ensure success. But Buddhism teaches that this is a beautiful lie, and clinging to it is the source of endless suffering. Life is fundamentally uncertain, uncontrollable, unpredictable. You can influence some things, yes. You can make wise choices. You can work diligently. But you cannot control outcomes. You cannot force the universe to comply with your preferences. And the more tightly you grip control, the more anxious and disturbed you become. Think about it. When do you feel most at peace? It's not when you're micromanaging every detail of your life. It's when you've done your best and then let go. When you've surrendered to the flow. When you've trusted that life will unfold as it needs to, even if you can't see the full picture yet. Buddhism teaches the principle of wu wei wei, effortless action. It doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing what you can with full effort and then releasing attachment to the outcome. It means working with life's natural flow instead of constantly fighting against it. It means trusting that there's a wisdom at work beyond your limited understanding. When you try to control everything, you create tension, you create resistance, you create anxiety, because deep down, you know you can't actually control most things, so you're constantly bracing for disaster, constantly trying to predict and prevent, constantly exhausting yourself in a battle you cannot win. But when you release control and embrace trust, something shifts. You still take action, you still make plans, you still work toward your goals, but you hold them lightly, you do your part, and then trust life to do its part. You understand that sometimes the best outcomes come through paths you never could have planned or controlled. This doesn't mean being passive. It doesn't mean giving up. It means distinguishing between what you can control and what you can't. You can control your effort. You can't control the outcome. You can control your attitude. You can't control other people's reactions. You can control your choices. You can't control the consequences. When you focus on what you can control and release what you can't, peace becomes natural. You're no longer exhausting yourself trying to orchestrate the universe. You're simply showing up, doing your best, and trusting the rest. There's a beautiful serenity prayer that captures this Buddhist wisdom. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. This is the path to unshakable peace, not through controlling everything, but through trusting life while doing your part. So practice this. Notice when you're trying to control outcomes, other people, circumstances beyond your influence. Feel the tension that creates, and then practice release. I will do my best. I will take wise action, and then I will trust. I will let go. I will allow life to unfold. That shift from control to trust is where peace lives. And once you learn it, nothing can disturb you because you're no longer fighting the natural flow of life. Now we come to the core teaching, the one truth that, once fully understood and embodied, makes you truly unshakable. Your peace is not a condition you achieve when life finally goes right. It's a choice you make, regardless of what life brings. This single insight has the power to transform everything. Most people treat peace like a destination. I'll be at peace when I get the promotion, when I meet the right person, when I have enough money, when my problems are solved, when my health improves, when my kids are older, when I retire. They make peace conditional on external circumstances, and so they never find it. Because life never stops bringing challenges, changes, and uncertainties. There's always another problem to solve, another goal to achieve, another condition to meet before they allow themselves peace. This is the hamster wheel of conditional peace, and it's exhausting. You spend your whole life postponing peace, waiting for the right circumstances, and those circumstances never quite arrive. Or they do arrive briefly, and then new challenges emerge. The promotion brings more responsibility and stress. The relationship brings new conflicts. The money brings new worries. And you realize the peace you were promised wasn't in the achievement at all. Buddhism teaches something revolutionary. Peace is your natural state. It's not something you create. It's something you return to. It's not something you earn through perfect circumstances. It's something you uncover by removing the obstacles you've placed in front of it. It's always there, beneath the noise of the mind, beneath the drama of life, beneath your thoughts and emotions and stories, waiting for you to remember it. And you can access it at any moment, not by changing your circumstances, but by changing your relationship to your circumstances. This is what the Buddha discovered under the Bodhi tree. He didn't suddenly have a perfect life. He didn't eliminate all problems. He simply woke up to a truth. That peace is not found in the external world. It's found in the depth of your own being, in the stillness beneath the thoughts, in the awareness that observes all experience without being disturbed by it. When you realize this, truly realize it, you become free, because your peace is no longer held hostage by life's ups and downs. You can experience disappointment without losing your peace. You can face challenges without losing your peace. You can encounter criticism, rejection, loss, and still, at your core, remain undisturbed. This doesn't mean you become cold or unfeeling. You still feel emotions. You still care. You still respond to life, but you're no longer controlled by these experiences. You're no longer thrown off balance because you know something deeper. You know that beneath all the surface turbulence, you are fundamentally okay. You are whole. You are at peace. How do you access this? Through practice, through choosing peace again and again in small moments. When someone cuts you off in traffic, you choose peace instead of rage. When you face a setback, you choose peace instead of despair. When someone criticizes you, you choose peace instead of defensiveness. Each time you make this choice, you strengthen your inner stability. You train your mind to default to peace rather than reactivity. And over time, peace becomes your baseline. Not something you have to achieve, but something you naturally return to, no matter what happens. This is the ultimate teaching. Nothing can disturb your peace once you learn that peace is not dependent on anything outside of you. It's a choice, a practice, a way of being that you can access right now, in this moment, regardless of what's happening in your life. So starting today, practice choosing peace in the small moments and the big ones, when life is smooth and when it's chaotic. Choose to return to your center. Choose to remember that you are the vast sky, not the passing weather. Choose to trust that beneath all the noise, you are and have always been fundamentally at peace. And as you practice this, as you choose peace again and again, you will discover what the Buddha discovered, that nothing, absolutely nothing, has the power to disturb your peace, because your peace was never dependent on the world cooperating. It was always within you, waiting to be claimed. The path to unshakable peace is simple, but not easy. It requires practice. It requires vigilance. It requires the courage to see clearly, to let go deeply, and to trust completely. But it is the most worthwhile journey you will ever undertake. Remember the fundamental truth: nothing outside of you has the power to disturb your peace. The disturbance comes from your thoughts, your resistance, your taking things personally, your need for control. When you address these inner barriers, when you master your own mind, you become unshakable. You don't need perfect circumstances. You don't need everyone to like you. You don't need life to go according to plan. You only need to remember that peace is your natural state, and you can choose it right now, regardless of what's happening around you. As the Buddha taught, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. This is the wisdom that changes everything. This is the truth that sets you free. And once you truly learn it, nothing will ever disturb your peace again. May you walk through life with the calm confidence of one who knows their peace cannot be taken. May you face challenges with grace, knowing you remain unshaken at your core. And may you discover in every moment that the peace you seek has always been here, waiting within you. If this message resonated with you, if you feel the truth in these teachings, don't keep it to yourself. Like this video, so more people can discover this path to unshakable peace. Share in the comments which teaching impacted you most, and subscribe for more Buddhist wisdom on living with deep, lasting peace in a chaotic world. Your journey to unshakable peace might be the light someone else needs to find their way home.